this vaccine is unique in that it has the 2A genotype and the 2B. Most other vaccines or all other vaccines have either 2A or 2B. So this is an industry first. So again, on paper, that sounds important, but from a immunologist's perspective, why is this important to have 2A and 2B together?
And that's a great question. It really is. And on one hand, we know that PCV2A and PCV2B and other strains, importantly PCV2D, are circulating within the swine population. So having PCV2B protection is important because PCV2B is circulating. But PCV2B is actually more closely related to PCV2D, the predominant strain, than A is to D. Not only are they more closely related, how the immune system actually recognizes B is more similar among B and D than A and D. And there's one more thing I want to talk about with that. Having two genotypes is actually of greater value than having a single vaccination with A or a single vaccination with B. And that's because PCV2 continues to evolve. And not only do we have point mutations, so single changes within the virus over time, but the PCV viruses can actually share genetic information. So recombination can happen. And so that means that the PCV2A viruses that we've seen in the early 2000s, they're different today. They have parts of PCV2B in them or PCV2D in them. So having two genotypes really gives us protection or broader coverage against the changing PCV2 viruses because of not only the point mutations, but because of those.
So it keeps mutating, it keeps changing, but you mentioned Dr. Darren Madsen of Iowa State. Looking at his latest surveillance data, we see that 2D is by far the most prevalent genotype out there. So it's great that you've got 2A and 2B, that's twice as much as anybody else has, but why not just go for the jugular, just go straight for 2D?
If it only took a couple of weeks or months to produce a vaccine, perhaps that's what we could do. But it actually takes multiple years from start to finish. So having a vaccine and an idea in your head to actually producing a vaccine and then having it be approved by the USDA. So we've been working on this project for multiple years. But I would say that if you look at the PCV viruses and how they're related to one another, there's really a cluster of PCV2A, and then there's a cluster of PCV2B and D. So they're very closely related. So having A and B really gives us representation from both of those clusters.